The Florida Gators are winning 9 games this year and making the college football playoff. Here's how it happens.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free every single podcast and on YouTube. Happy Thursday. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season's right around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets today. And today we are going game by game with a record prediction. I realize that this is what people have been talking about now. It's the big talking point. We've had quite a few people ask about the record prediction game by game. So we're doing it, okay? First off, and we'll break it up basically. First segment, the first 4 games. Second segment, 3 games. And the final segment, those final games that are hopefully going to be a lot of wins in that one, but we'll see. But the first game, Long Island University. I know that right now we're seeing the reports that they may just sit DJ Lagway so he doesn't, or to not put him at risk. I hate that. I'll say that very openly and very plainly. I hate that idea. I think that DJ Lagway needs as many live reps as he could possibly get. That's always been my stance, is that I think he's going to be great, but the way that he gets to that level is by going out there and doing it. And he doesn't even have to look amazing when he's going out there and doing it. He just has to literally go out there and do it. And so I think that idea of potentially resting him is awful. I know he's, throwing 70 passes a day or whatever the reported number was. Put him on the field. He needs to play. He needs to play. And Long Island is the best chance to get him live game reps without having him under constant pressure, because Long Island shouldn't be pressuring you. And Florida should win that game handedly. Next is you're hosting South Florida, USF. That's just, there's no other way to put it. Alex Golesh is doing some fun things over there. They're a fun team to watch. They've got some talented players around there, but this is one of those times where talent in the SEC is just too much, right? Then you start SEC play. And you're at number 9 LSU. And it's going to be the first loss. I'm going to tell you now. I'm going to put this as the first loss. Mostly because the way that I think about this, there's 2 games that I feel most comfortable saying Florida will lose. But Billy Napier's track record tells me that they're going to lose one game that they probably shouldn't, right? Just about every year, they've done it. They've lost games where they shouldn't have done. Last year, I'm not even going to say Miami. I'm going to say for last year, Texas A&M, backup quarterback. Should have beat them. I get it. Marcel Reed's good, but first start and wasn't expecting it. You should have beaten them. So there was Texas A&M was last year. Year prior, Arkansas. Year prior, Vandy. Every year, there's been a game where Florida is the better team in the matchup, and they lose. And so I will say this. Florida's better than LSU this year. Okay? I get it. LSU's ranked number 9. Florida's better than LSU this year. The reason that I chose the LSU game to be the game where Florida's better than that team, and again, I know LSU's ranked number 9, and people are going to go, oh, so that means you think Florida's better than the number 9 team? You think they're a top 8 team? Maybe, but I also don't think that LSU is a top 10, 12, or probably even 15 team in the country. So it's a combination of me being pretty high on Florida and being very low on LSU this year. I'm just not bought in. So I will say not buying in on LSU, but Baton Rouge at night is always hell. I have been very consistent in saying that I think LSU at night is a top 3. I top 2 even atmosphere in college football with the Swamp at night. It's just hell, right? Florida has had some pretty bad luck at LSU. And I do mean some of it has been bad luck in the sense of things like throwing a shoe. I mean, honestly, who throws a shoe? Really? It's crazy. But that happened. And look, we could say that's bad luck, but also my stance on that game, or we could say it was a stupid thing to do because it was. But my stance on that game is that LSU never should have been in that. Like, LSU never should have been close enough where that mattered, but they were because you played poorly. So the shoe sucked, but other things went into that game as well that caused a loss there. So I'm going to say LSU on the road is going to be the first loss of the season, starting 0-1 in Power 4 play. Then you go neutral site game at number 10 Miami, which I'm not. Yeah, that I like it. It sucks because Miami beat Florida in Florida's home stadium, but Florida can't return the favor even if they win the game, because then it's Florida beating Miami in the Miami Dolphins home stadium. I respect it, right? I respect being able to go, oh, well, we beat you in your home stadium. We don't have a home stadium, so you can't beat us in ours. Like, I respect it. Not actually. I hate you all. But I will say that Florida should win that game, right? And I will be, in the interest of being completely honest, as we always try to do here, honest, informative, educating, entertaining. If we can do all those things, then we're cool with it. Regardless of how wrong I'll be at multiple times in my career, that's fine. Miami was one of the games I was considering for the loss, but I just think that considering how the game ended last year, even without the 41-17 loss, the way that the Miami roster handled themselves after that game with the Florida fans and recruiting area and all that stuff. If you're Florida, you have to go out there and win. That's, I think, the biggest must-win game of the season for me is Miami. It might, like, team might not feel the same way, coaching staff might not feel the same way, but for me, that's, I think, the biggest must-win game of the season for Florida because of the way that Miami handled themselves after that. Which is wild that 41-17, I think it was Mark Scott said it, that 41-17 defined Miami's season and not Florida's. And that's crazy, but that is what it is when you're a miserable fan base that has nothing good to live for in their entire lives, nothing good to look forward to. But hey, that's the Miami Hurricanes, right? We are getting to the second leg of this season when we get back with Locked On Gators. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. I'm telling you now, I am contemplating parlaying the Cowboys and Commanders to miss the playoffs. I'm not buying in on either of those teams right now. I don't care how good of a rookie year Jaden Daniels had. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever in the podcast and on YouTube. And looking at the Florida Gators schedule here, the second stretch, shorter stretch again, which is good. I do really like the way that this is broken up with 4 games in the first leg, 3 games in the second, then 5 to end it. I think most people would agree that the ideal way to break it up would probably be either 4 games, 4 games, 4 games with the 2 buys, or 5, 3, 4, maybe flipped, because you're already fresher at the start of the year. So you get that bye week later in the year and you're fresher for the end of the season, maybe. But either way, like I think the 4-3-5 way of scheduling, I think that's perfectly fine. It does lead to some potential fatigue if you do make it to the SEC championship with 5 games in a row, and the SEC championship game is on December 6th, so a week after the Florida State game, where it's like, well, if you do make that, that's going to be that's going to be 6 games in a row. Could be pretty banged up at that point. But hey, that's football. That's life in the SEC. Go out there and win it regardless. The first game in this second stretch versus number 1 Texas. I am giving the L here. And this one I feel more comfortable with than the LSU one. It's simply me looking at Texas's roster, Florida's roster, and saying that I do like how Florida matches up. I do think one thing that Texas has is that they do have a ton of talent, right? Like they've recruited very well. Sark's a very good coach. I know he hasn't won a national championship, but I think that's a weird argument for people to bring up when they talk about Sark. Like people talk about Sark being a great coach and being an elite coach, and people like the rebuttal is, well, he hasn't won a championship. And it's like, okay, well, so has basically nobody. And I don't know, when I think like an elite coach, I'm thinking like top 5-ish, top 6, like ranging over there. Just because you haven't won a national championship, I don't think that means that you aren't top 5. When that doesn't exist right now in terms of coaches that have won national championships that are active. There aren't that many, so there's not that many elite. Come on, it just doesn't make sense to me. I think Sark's a great coach, okay, and so I know the whole like, oh well, he hasn't been able to win a championship. Okay, that's fine. Neither's Billy, so that negates each other, right? Sark's made it to the SEC championship. Hell, I hate doing this, but Sark made it to the SEC championship in his first year in the SEC. Not first year with the program, but first year that the program is in the SEC. And they made it the first year. Lost, made it, which is more than Billy can say, right? So for the Texas game, and I think by the Texas game, you could piece what the other loss on the schedule is going to be for me. But I just need to see it from Billy. That's it. Like, again, I am so bought in on this roster. I am so bought in on the process of how they built this roster. But until you go out there and do it, I can't say that you're going to go out there and do it. I think that by that logic, I'm already stretching it by saying that you're making the college football playoff, which, by the way, you could still do with 9 wins. In fact, I would argue very strongly that if you win 9 games of the schedule, you should be in the college football playoff. And so I think that when we talk about the Texas game, it's like, yep, I'm saying loss. I think that there's I'll say right now it's probably 60-40 Texas, which I don't think is too bad. I know there's going to be some people that go 60-40 is crazy. We just have different definitions of what's a big gap there, and I don't think 60-40 is crazy at all. And so giving Texas the win there against Florida. I know that it was, horrible blowout last year. I think everybody chalks that one. Like that's a different kind of blowout than the Miami one, right? Because the Texas one, you had a bunch of players out. You can kind of just go, all right, well, we were going to lose that game. Like that was happening regardless. So you can kind of just strike that one up and go, all right, we're going to move past it. Next, you have at Texas A&M. At number 19, Texas A&M for some reason. I just don't get it. I don't get it where I don't think Texas A&M is an awful team by any stretch of the word. It's just I don't think they're a number 19 team in the country. I don't think that they've earned that, if that makes sense. But we'll see. And look, I mean, I will say part of it for me is like they're probably going to be starting TJ Searcy, who I liked what he could become, but he wasn't anything proven last year. And so I'm not going to pretend that he's proven all of a sudden. They've done a pretty good job of recruiting, and in the portal, they've done a good job there too. But I don't know. They've got like 10 guys on their two deep that are new starters. Or sorry, they've got like I think it's like 6 guys that are new starters, and like 4 or 5 that are new second stringers, and that just seems like relying on a lot of transfer talent in the sense of I can't say I know they're going to mesh well. I can't say that they performed well for you last year because they're guys that one of them was here. I can't say I know they're going to be good. I do not fear Kyle Field, and until they prove Kyle Field is still Kyle Field, the Kyle Field that it used to be with Manziel, I'm not going to give Kyle Field that respect, especially when that was Billy Napier's one road win in 2022. He's been there before. He's won there before with his worst team. Arguably. I think 2023, you could also argue it. Argue. I'm not saying it is, but I'm just saying you could argue it. And so, yeah, I'm not putting respect on Texas A&M's name until they make me. Simple as that. Mississippi State is the last game of this stretch, and I mean that's a win, right? It's homecoming. It's in the swamp. And look, I think Mississippi State's going to be a better team than they were last year. I think that I am higher on Blake Shapen than a lot of other people are. Maybe that's me still remembering the Baylor days, but I think they're going to be better. They also have a ton of transfer portal guys, but they were in a case where they were an awful team last year. And so the portal guys are probably going to be better. And I think they're going to be a better team. But again, Florida should still beat them by a lot. Mississippi State's going to be a multi-year thing. And it's weird for a program with such low expectations that they consistently are now like firing coaches and trying to rebuild that way as if that's going to work for them. You're in the dumps for a reason. You're not going to get better by consistently just ditching whoever you have there. But Florida should handle that one, honestly, pretty easily. So right now you beat Long Island, you beat USF, you beat Miami, you beat Texas A&M, and you beat Mississippi State, and you lost at LSU and to Texas. 5-2 right now, not bad. End of the schedule is not easy. But again, this is the University of Florida. This is the SEC. Nothing's supposed to be easy for you. And so Florida, you got 5 games left. You're going to win 4 of them. We're going to talk about it when we get back with Locked On Gators. As summer winds down, there's something nice about getting back into a routine you love, right? And Wayfair makes it easy to set yourself up for the season ahead. From bedding and linens to storage solutions for every room, Wayfair is your one-stop shop to refresh your home. I mean, I told you guys months ago that we were really redoing the whole interior. And now we're moving. So that was fun. I'm just saying that was fun, but I will be using Wayfair to help furnish the new place because we have a new place coming up. So get organized, refreshed, and back to routine for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever the podcast and on YouTube. To wrap up today's show, we are talking about the final 5 games on the schedule for the Florida Gators in 2025. First off, the neutral site game, number 5, Georgia. I am marking this one as an L. And look, I think that in terms of roster talent, this is the closest that Florida has been to Georgia in the Billy Napier, Florida, Kirby Smart, Georgia, I guess, overlap there. Their contemporary tenures, I guess. And also, I do think that Florida I would say this one is closer than the Texas one. I think that these two teams are really close. Again, I'm not going to be the kind of guy that says Florida would have beaten Georgia had DJ Lagway stayed healthy. However, I am going to be the guy that said Florida was winning by 2 possessions when DJ Lagway got banged up. Okay? And yes, many things could have changed by then, right? Like DJ Lagway could have thrown a pick, makes it a 1-possession game if they score off that, or they could have scored and then he throws a pick and then they take the lead. Like anything could have happened, right? Could have fumbled. Florida could have gone up 24-0, right? Like Florida could have gone up big, but we don't know. And so I'm not going to pretend we do. So I'm not going to say definitively Florida would have won with DJ Lagway. I am going to say definitively, factually, accurately, 100% accurately, Florida was beating Georgia before DJ Lagway got injured. So this is similar to the Texas game in the second stretch. I need to see Billy beat Kirby Smart before I start predicting that he's going to beat Kirby Smart. Or I need to see Billy beat some high-quality opponents in 2025 before I could say he's going to do it in 2025. Okay, Billy beat high-quality opponents at the end of last year. But this is a different year. And we have not seen anything that would tell us definitively that there's going to be consistency week in, week out, season in, season out. And so you show me that and I'll buy into that. Again, I'm very bought in on this roster. Coaching needs to catch up to the talent. That's been the approach here. That's been the thought here. And so until they do that, I'm not going to start picking them to beat Georgia or Texas or probably any other top 5 team. Or probably any other top 7 team, if I'm being honest. But then we can start having a conversation. Again, LSU, if that game was in Gainesville, I would have picked it to win. I would have. But I actually need Billy to do it. And Billy does it, then cool. I'm all the way in. At Kentucky should be a massive win. Kentucky, I think, I don't know, man. I don't even know what their plan is. They've got Zach Calzada at quarterback. They lost, I think their top 3 receivers, at least the top 2, but I think the top 3 receivers, I mean, they're just a mess. They really are. They're just a mess there. So I can't predict them to win a single damn game that Florida is also playing in. I don't care where it is, when it is, I ain't picking them. So and also Jaden Ball destroyed them last year with 5 rushing touchdowns. So yeah, I just can't pick Kentucky to beat Florida at all. I think this is going to be a whooping again. Then you got at number 21, Ole Miss. I am not scared of going to Oxford. I need to see Ole Miss be better. I'm picking Florida to win this game. Last year, I picked Florida to win the game, and I said for the very simple reason that sometimes the storyline matters more than the talent or more than the coaching or more than the actual football in college football. Sometimes it does. And last year, my stance was, hey, everybody wants Billy fired to hire Lane. I know people are going to go, not me. I don't care if you mean it. I was being hyperbolic. I know a bunch of people said that Florida should fire Billy Napier and hire Lane Kiffin. And for that reason, I said, hey, Billy's not losing to Lane. I think this year, people are looking for Lane to get his get back. And I don't think Lane's been a coach that has shown he can do that. I think he's been more talk than substance. And so I need to see Lane. I need to see it from Lane. It's as simple as that. And they lost a lot of talent. I get it. They have a lot of talent still, but they lost a lot of NFL talent. And they still couldn't beat Florida last year. So I need to see it from Lane before I'm going to start picking him to beat Florida. I don't even know what just happened out there if you heard that. But hey, things happen, right? I don't know what to tell you. Then Florida hosts Tennessee for their final SEC game of the year. No one knows what's going on with Tennessee. They're blurring their quarterbacks out of videos where they're throwing interceptions. One quarterback just left and went to the Big Ten after the spring. Then they went and they traded quarterbacks because they took that quarterback from the Big Ten. Like they've done this nonsensical thing. They've got a bunch of players where every week it seems like they've got another player every week it seems like they've got another player not happy, not reporting to practice, not doing this. It just seems like a wreck there, if I'm being honest. And I'm not picking them to beat the Florida Gators. Okay, when Florida should have won last year in Tennessee. Should have. Billy lost that game. Billy lost that game. Then you end the season with Florida State and you're going to destroy them. Just belt to ass once again. Mike Norvell is going to cry once again. So is their entire fan base, and the space is going to boo-hoo. I don't care. Be better. Root for a better team. Simple as that. Florida's going to beat their asses again. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free every single podcast and on YouTube. We will be back tomorrow. Talk more Florida Gators football for Locked On Gators. I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI, and I'll see you all next time.